When you're going out to kill somebody, if you're seen by a single other person on the trail, then that day's screwed. Those chilling words weren't spoken by a fictional villain. They came from the mouth of a real man, one who would later be known as a serial killer who roamed the national forests of the southeastern United States, leaving behind a trail of terror, unanswered prayers, and unimaginable grief. This is the haunting case of Cheryl Dunlap, a devoted mother, a compassionate nurse, a Sunday school teacher, and the woman who unknowingly crossed paths with evil in its most manipulative form, Gary Michael Hilton. Welcome to Dark Matters TV, where we tell every true crime story with love, care, and the deepest respect for the victims and their families. If you're passionate about deeply investigated cases that deserve to be heard and understood, you're in the right place. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a case. And if you've been with us for a while but haven't subscribed yet, your support means the world. It helps us shine more light on these stories, to keep the victims' names remembered and the truth uncovered. Never miss a case that matters. Cheryl Dunlap was a woman of routine. A 46-year-old nurse, she worked at Florida State University's health services and was known for her generosity, her devotion to faith, and most of all, her fierce love for her two sons. On Saturday, December 1st, 2007, Cheryl told a friend she was heading to the Wakulla County Public Library in Florida. She logged into a computer around 10:30 a.m. and cashed a check shortly after at a nearby bank. After that, she vanished. No phone calls, no texts, no work on Monday, no Sunday school attendance the next day. Cheryl Dunlap, who never missed work without notice, was suddenly silent. Her friends were immediately concerned. Her adult son drove to her house, and what he found didn't sit right. The dog was still there. She never left her dog alone. Not like that. Something was wrong. I could feel it, the son said. On December 3rd, Cheryl's green Toyota Camry was found parked off a desolate road in the Apalachicola National Forest, 40 miles south of Tallahassee. Her keys and purse were still inside. One of the back tires was flat, punctured, detectives believed, intentionally. The area was eerily quiet. No sign of Cheryl. No struggle. But the air was thick with something worse than silence, dread. Investigators would later confirm. The trunk of Cheryl's car emitted a foul odor. But there was no body. Not yet. And while the trail seemed cold, something, or someone, was lurking nearby, watching. Just days before Cheryl's body would be discovered, a Cherokee County Sheriff's deputy in Georgia spotted a man parked on private hunting land. The man wore a red backpack and a fanny pack, nothing suspicious at first glance. He said he was just camping, showed maps, laughed with the deputy. Life's been sweet. We gotta document it. I'm taking a picture. Immortality. He jokes about getting shot by deer hunters. And when asked for ID, he says, "You see that fanny pack? There's no weapon in it, I promise. I'll bring it to you." But behind that easy grin was a predator, one who had already killed before and was plotting to kill again. On December 15th, 2007, two hikers in the Apalachicola National Forest made a discovery so gruesome it would leave law enforcement reeling. A decapitated, partially burned body was found deep in the forest, not far from where Cheryl's car had been discovered. It took days to confirm the identity, but it was Cheryl Dunlap. Whoever killed her hadn't just wanted to silence her. They wanted to erase her identity, to stall the investigation, to make sure she could never speak, in this life or the next. Forensic analysis would later reveal Cheryl had likely died from blunt force trauma to the head. Her fingers had been removed, her body dumped like garbage. It was savage, cruel, planned. Days after Cheryl's murder, the man from the Georgia woods, Gary Hilton, was arrested. Not for Cheryl's murder, but for kidnapping and murdering another woman, 24-year-old Meredith Emerson, a hiker from Georgia. Hilton abducted Meredith from a popular hiking trail in January 2008. He forced her to give him her ATM PIN, kept her alive for days, then decapitated her and attempted to cover his tracks, just like Cheryl. And just like Cheryl, he had punctured Meredith's car tire to trap her. Investigators soon linked Hilton to another murder, that of John and Irene Bryant, an elderly hiking couple murdered in North Carolina just weeks before Cheryl's disappearance. The pattern was unmistakable. The timeline? Terrifying. The Southeast U.S. had become his hunting ground, and Cheryl Dunlap had been one of his victims. Gary Hilton wasn't a deranged madman in the traditional sense. He was calculating, Charismatic, cold, a former soldier, a drifter with a criminal past and a lust for control. He preyed on hikers and outdoor enthusiasts, people isolated, alone, and miles away from help. He had a method. He would disable their cars, wait, then strike. These were not crimes of passion. They were premeditated. Hilton often camped near national parks and forest trails, blending in with other outdoor lovers. But unlike them, he wasn't there to hike. He was hunting. 3 days after Meredith Emerson vanished from the Blood Mountain Trail, a witness spotted Gary Hilton outside a gas station. Frantically cleaning out his van, the calls flooded in. Merchants and patrons recognized the photograph currently in the news. A man seen hiking with a rucksack and a dog. "That's him," they said, rowing items into a dumpster. When deputies reached the van, they found blood-stained hiking clothes, a folding police baton, a damaged car seat belt, and items matching Vanessa Meredith's missing belongings. Hilton was arrested on the spot, not just for trespassing or illegal camping, but under suspicion of kidnapping and murder. With his van impounded, investigators uncovered the full extent of his crimes. The Toyota's missing rear seat belt matched the one found in a nearby dumpster. Meredith's dog, Ella, was abandoned, scared, and alone, found miles away at a grocery store. Gary Michael Hilton's arrest wasn't just a stroke of luck. It was the result of public vigilance, determined investigators, and undeniable forensic evidence coming together at the right moment. Had no one spoken up, he might still be out there, searching for his next prey. Here at Dark Matters TV, we believe every story deserves to be told with care and respect, not just for the sake of justice, but for the voices that can no longer speak. So if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a case. And if you've been watching but haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Your support helps us shed light on these dark stories, not just to remember them, but to help us understand these crimes and prevent another tragic loss. Not long after Meredith's car was found abandoned with her leash, water bottle, and baton inside, Hilton emerged as a person of interest. According to Hilton's confession, he ambushed Meredith when she returned from retrieving something from her car. He attacked her with a police baton, but she fought back fiercely. A martial arts student, she managed to disarm him twice, even injuring him. He subdued her, forced both her and Ella into his van, and drove off into the forest. Hilton admitted to holding Meredith captive for 4 days, moving her from bank to bank across multiple Georgia counties in an attempt to withdraw cash from her account. Meredith purposely entered the wrong PIN codes repeatedly, a deliberate effort to delay Hilton and mark her transactions for investigators to trace. Hilton claimed he couldn't bring himself to kill her dog, Ella, saying, "It was hard. You gotta remember we had spent several good days together." Under questioning, Hilton revealed he had never intended to release Meredith. He claimed the kidnapping was initially for financial gain, but deep down he knew what was coming. He said, "I'm gonna tell you right now, there was never any plan to let her go." On January 4th, he told Meredith he would let her walk free. But instead, he led her into the forest, tied her to a tree, and struck her repeatedly, using a car jack handle, until she died from blunt force trauma. Afterward, in a calculated move to hamper identification, he decapitated her post-mortem. The body was later found in Dawson Forest Wildlife Area. Hilton agreed to cooperate, to avoid the death penalty, for he led investigators straight to Meredith's body. Her remains were discovered on January 7th, in a wooded area matching his confession. In February 2011, Gary Hilton was convicted of the murder of Cheryl Dunlap and sentenced to death in the state of Florida. He had already received a life sentence in Georgia for killing Meredith Emerson and would later face federal charges for the Bryant murders. In the courtroom, Cheryl's family finally got to confront the man who took her life. "You didn't just kill my mom. You killed part of me. You killed her future, her peace. You killed every plan she had," Cheryl's son said, but his days of roaming the forests were over. Cheryl Dunlap wasn't just a murder victim. She was a nurse, a friend, a servant of faith. A woman who lived every day trying to help others, only to be betrayed by a man who saw kindness as a weakness. Her legacy lives on in her sons, her patients, her church, and now, in the voices telling her story. This case reminds us that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it wears a smile. It jokes with police. It carries a map and claims it's just passing through. But even when evil thinks it's won, justice has a way of shining through the darkness. If this case gripped you like it did us, Take a moment now to subscribe to the channel. We bring stories like Cheryl's to light, not just to remember the victims, but to warn, to educate, and to fight for the truth. Gary Hilton remains on death row in Florida, one of the few serial killers who crossed multiple state lines and left a multi-jurisdictional path of violence. But the law caught up with him. Cheryl Dunlap's family waited over 3 years for justice. And though no verdict can fill the void she left behind, it was justice nonetheless. For Cheryl, for Meredith, for the Bryants, and for everyone who dares to walk a wooded trail, unaware that monsters sometimes wear human faces. In memory of Cheryl Dunlap, 1961 to 2007, evil thrives in silence. Justice speaks through those who tell the story. Thanks for watching. If you have a case you want covered, leave it in the comments. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and never walk alone.